Welcome to our second press conference of the day. PBC on NBC. This is a terrific card on Saturday night at the Barclays Center. The main event of the evening features the top prospect in most people's minds in boxing today, and almost universally believed to be the top prospect in the U.S. boxing today, Errol Spence Jr. against New York's own, Long Island's own, Chris Algieri, one of the best welterweights in the world in a 10-round fight. Cruiserweight champion Krzysztof Glowacki of Poland, and actually it's Glowacki, right? Glowacki? Okay, I got it right. Krzysztof made a huge name for himself with a tremendous recovery from what looked to be a knockout. Marco Huck hit him so hard, he looked like the Undertaker popping up off of the canvas, and then got up and knocked out Huck in one of the most dramatic fights of the year to bring a title to Poland and become a star in his homeland. He's taking on one of America's very best, Navy veteran, former champ, a terrific fighter and a terrific person, Steve USS Cunningham, for the WBO Cruiserweight Championship. That's exactly the kind of fight that boxing needs. It's a 50-50 kind of betting fight, that it's basically an even money fight between challenger and champion, and that's what it's all about. Marcus Brown will be fighting the toughest fight, I believe, of his professional career against a young man that I've promoted. He's known as Hot Rod, but his name is Radovoje Kalajic. Am I right there? Yeah. Okay, I got it. And that's from Mr. Kalajic. I wanted to get that name right. I've been calling him Hot Rod since I signed him. Marcus Brown's fought more times at the Barclays Center than any professional fighter. This is his opportunity to take that last step, beat, if he can, another undefeated, hungry, young, strong prospect en route to trying to get that world championship opportunity that he believes and he knows in his heart will come this year. And I know that Hot Rod's thinking that he's going to derail that train. So these are three great fights on NBC on Saturday night. The doors open at the Barclays Center at 5 p.m. The first bout starts right around then. The television on NBC begins at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time. And this is really, in terms of competitiveness of the matchups and quality of the fights, this is as good as it gets. And I think that NBC's got a great show on Saturday night. Tickets for the live event, which is promoted by my company in association with Joe DeGuardia's Star Boxing. The event is sponsored by Corona. The tickets start at $25. They're on sale now. You can get them through Ticketmaster.com, any Ticketmaster outlet, the box office, or BarclaysCenter.com. And I'd like to bring up from the Barclays Center my dear friend, the CEO, the man who runs the show, really one of boxing's best friends in the United States, but certainly one of boxing's best friends in the New York tri-state area. The Barclays Center's established itself as the home of great boxing, a mecca in its own right. And my pleasure to bring up my dear friend, Brett Yormark.
Thank you, Lou, and thank you all for coming today. We're thrilled to have Chris back at Barclays Center for his fourth fight. We expect a great turnout from Long Island fans, and obviously, they're looking forward to Saturday night as well. We're also looking forward to having a new name headline Saturday's event, and that's Errol Spence Jr. So welcome to Brooklyn, and happy to have you with us. This card also features talented local boxers whose careers have been developing at Barclays Center. Marcus, welcome back for your 11th fight at Barclays Center, and Lou is correct. That's the most of any fighter in Brooklyn. So thank you for calling Barclays Center home. And Heather Hardy, the First Lady of Brooklyn Boxing, will compete for her 6th time. So Heather, thank you for coming back as well. Next week, Barclays Center will host the 88th edition of the Daily News Golden Gloves, the premier event in amateur boxing. It's fitting that on Saturday night's card, it features Earl Newman and Chris Colbert, two Brooklyn fighters who got their start at Golden Gloves. So we're thrilled to have them on the card this weekend as well. Moving from old traditions to new, this month Brooklyn Boxing launched a unique brand of activewear and lifestyle apparel that proudly embraces the borough's legacy in the ring. If you haven't seen it yet, go to brooklynboxingshop.com or raise your hats, ladies and gentlemen. But we're thrilled with our logo. We're thrilled with our apparel line. So go to brooklynboxingshop.com and check it out. This Saturday night will be the 17th night of professional boxing at Barclays Center. And I think 2016 will be our biggest year yet. In the coming weeks, we'll announce some great fights that we'll be hosting. So we're looking forward to welcoming all of you back in the next couple of months as well. Very appreciative for the opportunity to be back on NBC. It's a great platform for all of us. I do want to recognize Premier Boxing Champions and thank them. Also want to thank, obviously, Lou DiBella and his great team for bringing great fights to the Barclays Center. Also want to thank Joe DeGuardia for his continued support of boxing, not only in Brooklyn, but in the tri-state area and beyond. And looking forward to having all of you with us this Saturday night. Thank you very much.
Brett did a great job mentioning the off-TV undercard that begins at 5 o'clock. People should get there early because it's a sensational undercard. And I just saw in the crowd two of the young men on the undercard. These are two up-and-coming guys that were multiple-time New York Golden Glove champions. Chris Colbert, known as Little B-Hop, he's been showing up at my shows since he was about 4 years old, like literally. He's like New York's ultimate gym rat. Great talent. I've been following his career literally since he was about 4 years old. And he's here along with Earl Newman, another terrific young prospect. So I'm going to bring them two up to the mic, let them say a couple of words.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank God for giving me such a great opportunity to perform on such a great card like this. And I'd like to thank Al Heyman, Lou DiBella, and all these great fighters on the podium up here for, giving me that way to, perform on cards like this. Come Saturday, I will put on a show. Thank you.
When you call yourself Little B-Hop, you have something to live up to. Earl Newman, would you come up and say a couple of words?
Good afternoon, everybody. I want to thank, first and foremost, God. I want to thank my manager, Al Heyman, promoter Lou DiBella, Star Boxing, and the Barclays Center for hosting this fight. Saturday night will be my debut at the Barclays Center, and no other, to be fighting alongside Heather Hardy, my friend Marcus Brown, Errol Spence, Steve Cunningham. It's going to be a great night of fights, and I look to, make my professional debut at home, so I'll be 9-0. Thank you.
Heather Hardy is the first lady of DiBella Entertainment. Now she's the first lady of Brooklyn Boxing. And she's graduated. Heather will tell you a little bit about her fight on Saturday night. She's got a really good opponent, and it should be a really good fight. I'll let her tell you about it.
Good afternoon. First, I'd like to thank Lou. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and the Barclays Center for having me back. On Saturday night, I'll be fighting Anna Holton from Switzerland, I think. She's 8-2. She's a bigger girl coming down in weight class to fight me, so expecting a good, strong boxer. So don't miss it.
The first bout we're going to introduce and discuss is actually the swing bout on Saturday night, but it will be televised by NBC. It will be the second fight of the evening on the card. So if you're in the arena, the title fight the co-featured fight will open the show, and this will be the swing bout and the second fight. It features Marcus Brown, 17-0, 13 KOs, proudly represents Staten Island, New York, 2012 U.S. Olympian, 3-time Golden Glove champion, 11th fight, as Brett said, at the Barclays Center. And this is a tough guy he's fighting. He'll be fighting Radivoje Kalijic, also known as Hot Rod. Radivoje is out of St. Petersburg, Florida, 21-0, 14 KOs. Proudly represents Florida, but proudly represents Bosnia and Herzegovina. He's from Zenica, and trained by Pete Fernandez, an old friend of mine. Has wins over Dante Woods, Otis Griffin, Lionel Thompson, Rayco Saunders. Has fought a lot of the same level of competition that Marcus has fought as a pro. And this will be by far the best fighter he's facing in his pro career. And it's opportunity for him as an undefeated fighter himself, if he can beat the up-and-coming rising star, the former Olympian, to gain that kind of star status himself. So he's got a lot to fight for. So it's my pleasure to bring up Radivoje Kalijic, Hot Rod.
First of all, I want to thank my teammates, and I'm ready. I don't really got not much to say. I'm just ready to fight. Thank you.
Marcus, if you're that talkative, this is going to be a very short press conference. My pleasure to bring up former U.S. Olympian, undefeated pro prospect Marcus Brown.
First and foremost, I want to thank God for waking us all up, bringing us here today. Brett Yormack in the Barclays, Al Heyman, my trainer Gary Stark Sr., Andre Rozier, Luis Ruiz for getting me prepared for this fight. We've done a lot of talking leading up into this fight. And I want to do a little bit less of this and more of this come Saturday. So he said he's ready to fight. Saturday night, we'll see. God bless.
The man who challenges for the WBO Cruiserweight Championship on Saturday night at the Barclays Center on NBC is a man that's fought loads of fights on television and loads of fights all over the world. One of the most respected fighters in the game by his peers. No question, he is that. I mean, he really is a fighter that other fighters look up to. Not only for his quality in the ring, but his quality as a family man, his quality as a human being. And this is a guy that served his country for the United States Navy from 1994 to 1998, which I always thank him for, and I'll thank him again for. Steve USS Cunningham, trained by one of the very best in the game. You know, they don't get better than brother Nazim Richardson. He's got a great corner. I'm sure he has a great game plan. And he knows that he's fighting a very, very, very quality champion, a tough guy in Glowacki. And my pleasure to bring up Steve USS Cunningham.
First, I'd like to thank NBC for bringing me back on, Lou DiBella, Brooklyn. This is my first time at the Barclays Center, so I'm excited about that. My team, Concrete Jungle, for getting me right, keeping me right, and last but not least, the Most High, Yahuwah. All praises to the Most High. I'm ready, you know. I'm ready. Training camp is over. I'm not going to talk about training camp. You know, it's grueling, it's hard work, it's heavy. You know, you want to cut your trainer out sometimes. You know, it's that hard. So we had that. So I know it's good. I know I'm going against a great opponent. You know, he did what he's supposed to do. He took the belt from the champion. You know, got up off that canvas. Can't look at him lightly at all. But I'm here to do a job. Job I've been doing for almost 20 years. You know, I'm here to do a job. And I'm not one of those predicting guys. I'm not one of those guys who says, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I know things happen in the ring. But come Saturday night, I want things to go my way. I want things to happen my way, you know. And if they're not, we're able to evolve. We're able to adjust. So much respect to the champion, Glowacki, the Polish fan base that's going to be there. That's going to make it seem like I'm back in Poland. and Brooklyn, though. I know Brooklyn's going to be there. So let's go, man. It's work time. Thank you.
Krzysztof Glowacki's fight against Marco Huck was Fight of the Year on a number of media outlets. It was the runner-up on almost every place it wasn't Fight of the Year. And it was a spectacular American debut. He's 29 years old. Expect him to receive heavy support at Barclays Center on Saturday night from the large Polish population in Brooklyn. And I hope that my good friend and translator, Polish Peter, who will come up and it's Polish Peter because he has another one of those last names I can't pronounce. So I'm working on the fighters, but I just can't. I can't work on everybody else. So you're okay with Polish Peter?
Absolutely.
Okay. So Polish Peter will be translating for the champion, Krzysztof Glowacki. And I want to note just also that Krzysztof, his promoters, Warriors Boxing in the U.S. And is Peter here? Are they?
Yeah, around.
They're around. Well, his promoter Peter and his Polish promoters, I think they're around, and I want to welcome them too. So I'll bring up Krzysztof Glowacki, the WBO Cruiserweight Champion of the world.
Witam wszystkich. Cieszę się, że po raz kolejny jestem w Nowym Jorku.
I'm so happy to be again in New York.
Chciałbym podziękować przede wszystkim telewizji NBC za pokazanie naszej walki oraz moim trenerom za świetne przygotowanie.
I would like to thank NBC for showing my fight and of course my team for preparing me so well.
Steve Cunningham to świetny człowiek, wspaniały wojownik, tak? Czeka mnie na pewno ciężka walka.
Steve Cunningham is not only a great fighter, he's a great human being, but so I expect a big, great, tough fight.
Na pewno jest gotowy, chce mi zabrać mistrzostwo, chce mi wyrwać pas.
He wants to take the belt from me.
Więc to na pewno nie będzie takie proste.
It's not going to be easy.
Także zapraszam na show, zróbmy to.
I invite everybody for a great show on Saturday.
Thank you.
So this is a great fight NBC has here because and I've talked to, when you talk to boxing people, you have conversations, who's going to win a fight. I mean, this one is almost evenly split down the middle. There are a lot of people that believe that Steve can get into Brooklyn, walk into the Barclays Center and take the belt away. And there are an awful lot of people that believe that Glowacki's on the verge of establishing himself as a dominant cruiserweight champion. So there's a big split of opinions. So I think NBC's got a great fight with this title fight. And it's got a great fight with the main event. Chris Algieri, 21-2 with 8 KOs, only 2 losses, one to Manny Pacquiao, and he went the distance as hard as Pacquiao hit him, and as many times as he got down, he got up. And then a tremendous effort, a tremendous fight against Amir Khan. I remember Star Boxing's matchmaker going crazy when the scores were read, Ron Katz, and running up and cursing at me and the commission and various other people. Whoever was nearby, Ron cursed at when the scores were read because he thought that Chris had done enough to, if not win the fight, pull out a draw. But it was a great, great fight. And now Amir Khan's going on to this super fight with Canelo Alvarez, and Chris Algieri will be fighting a young man considered to be the top prospect in American boxing. So to introduce a terrific young man and a terrific fighter, Chris Algieri, I'll bring up his promoter from Star Boxing, Joe DeGuardia.
Thank you, Lou. Well, it's a pleasure to be back in Brooklyn and to have Chris fighting at the Barclays Center again, where he's had now, this will be his 4th performance. It's the last 3 of which have been with PBC, so we appreciate PBC and the home that it provides for Chris in the last 3 fights. And certainly it's really rewarding that he's going to be fighting in the main event on national television, prime time on NBC, which is a real testament to this fight. Lou mentioned that Chris has had some great performances at the Barclays Center, and he has. he's going to have another one in front of him on Saturday against an individual who is considered, in Errol Spence, the best prospect in the world today. And that's a challenge that Chris is looking forward to, and it's a challenge that he has faced before. It's only been less than 2 years ago when everybody wrote him off when he was scheduled to fight Ruslan Provodnikov. He was a huge underdog. Ruslan Provodnikov was considered the most feared fighter in the game. And yet, on that night, right at the Barclays Center in June, Chris went, got dropped twice in the first round, had his eye completely closed, and showed the grit, heart, and determination of a true fighter, and came out and won the world championship against Ruslan Provodnikov. Showed a lot that night, and we're looking forward to him showing a lot on Saturday night and pulling off that surprise and winning that fight Saturday night like he did less than 2 years ago at the Barclays Center. Ladies and gentlemen, former world champion, Chris Algieri.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank DeBella Entertainment and Star Boxing, the PBC and NBC for hosting the fight, and of course the Barclays Center, which has become a tremendous home for me, a second home for me. Brooklyn has treated me very well. You know, as Lou and Joe both said, I've had some of my best performances here at the Barclays Center. Really looking forward to putting on another exciting and excellent performance this Saturday night. This, you know, like a lot of the fighters have been saying, a lot of the great fighters that are on this card, mind you, it's always an honor to share the stage with such illustrious guys in our sport. I think a lot of these guys really bring honor and respect to the business that we do. But yeah, it's exciting to be back in Brooklyn and to be sharing the card with these guys. And like everyone has already said, these fighters, the hard work's done. Training camps were hard, they were long, they were grueling. There's not much more to be said. It's time to fight. So on Saturday night, make sure you guys come out, check out the fight. It's going to be a great night of fights. NBC, PBC, Barclays Center, Chris Algieri versus Errol Spence. It's going to be an excellent fight. Really looking forward to it. Hard work is done. And that's it. See you all at the fights.
One more time, the TV begins at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time on NBC. So PBC on NBC, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time. And by the way, when the fights are over, change the channel to Showtime and catch those two great championship fights on Showtime Championship Boxing. I'm not going to repeat his credentials. They speak for himself. He's got tremendous amateur and credentials and tremendous credentials as a young professional. What he needs is this kind of an opportunity that NBC is giving him to fight one of the very best in prime time on national television on Saturday night, April 16th at the Barclays Center. This is how people will get to know Errol Spence Jr.
I'm glad everybody here today. First off, I'd like to thank God for allowing me to be here. And, you know, thank NBC for allowing me to fight my fourth time on NBC. I'd like to thank Lou DeBella and my manager, Al Heyman, for believing me. This is a great call with great fighters. You know, this is a great opportunity for me. A lot of people think I'm a prospect and 1 foot in and 1 foot out on the verge of being a contender. And Saturday night, I'm putting on another great performance. Training camp was hard, it was grueling, and I'm glad it's done with. I never thought a fight week could come. So just make sure you tune in Saturday night, man. It's going to be a great card from top to bottom, man. We got great fighters on this card. And be looking for the best Errol Spence. Thank you. Oh, yeah, man down, too. Y'all know what it is.
So hopefully, I'm going to see you on Saturday night at the Barclays Center. Tickets, barclayscenter.com, ticketmaster.com, Ticketmaster outlets, or the Barclays Center box office. If you're not there, I know you're going to be watching it on NBC, PBC on NBC, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time. We're going to pose the fighters. They'll be available for interviews and one-on-ones. Thank you all for coming.